And welcome back to the Emerging Growth Conference. Next up, we have Foothills Exploration, Inc. It trades on the OTC under the symbol FTXP and is an oil and gas exploration company focused on natural gas exploration and participating in the global energy transition. Please welcome the Executive Chairman, Kevin Sylla. Welcome, Kevin.
Welcome. Thank you for having us today.
All right. We look forward to hearing your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody today for joining us. What I'm going to do today is give everybody a 50,000-foot overview of the company, and then I'm going to open it up shortly for Q&A so we can have a productive use of our time today. For those of you that are new to Foothills, we have a very compelling business proposition, and it's a very exciting time to follow Foothills and be a shareholder, in our opinion. What we're focused on is we're an oil and gas exploration company focused not only on delivering today's energy needs, but tomorrow as well. Our ticker symbol is FTXP. Market cap is approximately $7 million. Our principal assets are in the Wind River Basin in Wyoming. And the key to the play is that we have 16,000 acres of highly prospective acreage that we're going to look to develop in the upcoming quarters. Now, as the energy landscape has changed over the last few years and the push for clean energy has evolved, the company has made a concerted effort to pivot its business model to include clean energy and move it forward. So we developed a two-core initiative to focus our strategy not only in generating high-impact oil and gas exploration projects, but also to invest in high-quality and high-probability hydrogen and geothermal projects through our new Energy Ventures division. Our two-pronged strategy that we've developed is going to meet today's energy needs and tomorrow. First, if you will, we're obviously focused on oil and natural gas because let's face it, we're going to need oil and gas for the next 30 years. And until we get a balanced and realistic energy mix and renewables get more efficient and cheaper, oil and gas will be fueling our economy till that time. But for tomorrow, and as the energy climate changes, we are looking at some significant hydrogen and geothermal projects to take part in the clean energy transition. Now, we feel there's an exciting opportunity in oil today. If you guys have been looking at commentary from investment banks lately, like Bank of America and a few others, they're predicting the potential of a super cycle and $100 oil in the future. Our company also believes this. As demand comes back post-COVID, you're going to notice demand for crude and energy peak back up to pre-pandemic levels. So we're excited. We're looking for projects, and we believe there's a potential for oil to spike to $100, and there's an opportunity to acquire assets and to take advantage of this market environment. What we've employed is what I call a four-phase strategy to take advantage of this market opportunity. The first is we're going to continue to seek to acquire oil and gas assets in our wheelbarrow. What does that mean? We're looking for conventional oil and gas assets with long-lived reserves, with existing production, where we can go in and drill for more upside and increase production through optimization and new drilling. The second part of this plan is our Wind River Basin asset. We're going to look to continue to delineate it. We're going to look to get a four-wheel drilling program in the near future so we can exploit asset. We truly like that asset, and we believe it's a pivotal and crucial part of the company's future. When you look at our new Energy Ventures company and subdivision, if you will, what we're doing there is we're looking at projects in hydrogen and geothermal. Those projects, we believe, can be a big part of the energy transition as we move to a net zero energy. We believe that hydrogen can play an immense part, along with geothermal, in the energy transition. Now, why are we so excited at Foothills? I have to believe it's our Wind River Basin projects. It's 16,000 continuous acres, as you can see in the yellow. What makes this project so exciting, it's surrounded by some strong historical production. The Beaver Creek and this big Sandra fields have produced over 130 million barrels collectively next to us and over 1 trillion cubic feet. Not only that, this production came from a multi-pay zone environment. So when we have began and the third-party engineering report on our current acreage, the geologists and engineers team felt that we had a multi-pay zone and stack pay environment. They believe that we have a prospective resources of about 18 million barrels and 32 billion cubic feet of prospective resources in natural gas. This is an exciting play that we hope and we believe we will begin to exploit starting this year. Currently, what we're doing in the Wind River program is we're going through our delineation process. Currently, we have a team of geologists and petroleum engineers looking for the best locations to drill. We're currently analyzing all the data, and we hope to have this program in set before year's end so we can exploit this 18 potential million barrels and over 32 billion cubic feet of gas, if you will. When you look at our new energy ventures projects pipeline, we're extremely excited about it. We're looking at natural hydrogen, which is an up-and-coming field, where it's the exploration of hydrogen subsurface geologically. We're also looking at power generation, blue and green hydrogen production, and also some greenfield tech fields for the oil field to help orphaned and neglected wells. Now, here comes something that I always like to talk. For a junior exploration company traded on the OTC, we believe we have a management team second to none. Me, myself, I have over 15 years experience in the oil and gas business. I've been involved in multiple roll-ups and the successful drilling of over 100 wells. And I've managed over 200 wells in a portfolio at any given time. Our CEO, BP Allaire, he's a Harvard MBA with an impressive background of startups, rolling up companies, and getting them where they need to be. Our technical team is just as equally as impressive. We have Alex Hem. He is our director and petroleum engineer, along with Chapman Engineer. They bring over 20 years of experience of frontier exploration in the United States and globally. And not least, our financial and business development team. We have Chris Jarvis. He has 20 years in the capital markets. At one point in time, he was ranked by Bloomberg, the bar analyst, #1 analyst in 2005. And we have Tara Roberts. At this time, I'd like to open up for Q&A so we can get the questions that everybody likes to ask. If you
Great presentation. We do have quite a few questions. All right. So tell us, are you audited, and do you plan on becoming audited, Kevin?
You know, that's a great question. Right now, we're not audited. We do plan on getting audited. That's part of the plan that we've publicly announced. And I think the key here is, for us, we just submitted our 2019 report along with our attorney's representation letter. We just received our clearance with the OTC to start uploading on their alternative reporting standard system. So we're just going down the line on the process. We have all our books in to the accountants and lawyers. They're going over the derivative liability, which is a big issue usually from convertible debt holders and OTC. But once again, to answer the question directly, if you will, we do plan to become audited. That's part of our plan. It's part of our budget, and we look to have that done by year's end.
Fantastic. When do you expect to be current with OTC markets?
Similar to the first question, I believe, but with the OTC markets, everything is the process is going along, and from what I can tell, we have a great team of bookkeepers, accountants, legal, and what they're telling me is that we should see and the reason I have some hesitancy because they warn me, if you know how legal is, they don't want you to put anything in writing or say anything. But I have to believe it'll be in the upcoming weeks. That's the best I can say. It'll be shortly.
So there seems to be a lot of dilution in the market. Is this a tool for raising capital? And what specifically is the use of your proceeds?
Well, the dilution of, that you've seen in the marketplace recently has been to retire a vast amount of the variable convertible debt that we have. So we've been, management team has draw a line in the sand, if you will. We said we don't want to take any more variable rate convertible debt because it hasn't been good for our shareholders. And so what we've done is we've taken some fixed convertible debt and take out the variable rate in order to strengthen our balance sheet and help the company move forward, if you will.
Can you talk a little bit about your current financials? Give us an update about your cash on hand, revenue, some net profit or loss, if there is a loss.
Currently, what I'd like to do is, and as part of our representation, they voiced to let the public to see it as the announcements come out. So, like I said, in the couple of weeks, you'll see our quarters come out, and you'll notice what's cash on hand, what's the profits, and what's the margins look like.
Okay. What's your current burn rate per month?
Our current burn rate per month is approximately $125,000 per month.
So are there any majors currently producing where you guys are exploring?
Absolutely. Denbury Resources is a major that's in the Wind River Basin. That's a name that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. ConocoPhillips is a well-known name. They're in the Wind River Basin as well. Devon Energy was in the Beaver Creek sand draw, but they just sold out their portion to Denbury. So there's quite a few majors, and adjacent to us in the powder, there's a couple of majors as well.
Do you have a timeline to production?
Currently, we do have some non-operated interest that's producing by EOG. They're also a New York Stock Exchange company, EOG Resources. So we have about a 21% interest in 2 natural gas wells in the Uinta Basin that's operated by EOG. But from our personal production profile, what we're simply looking to do is we're looking to bring our own wells online within Q3 and Q4 of this year, whether that's by drilling or acquisition.
Great. Can you go over any land assets or leases?
Yeah, the 16,000 acres that we discussed is in the Wind River Basin. They're continuous. They're federal, so they're BLM leases. And so we're ready to go. And we're looking to unitize them currently as well.
Do you have plans for a reverse split?
No.
Okay.
I think the reason why is very simple. The company has an agenda. It needs to accomplish these things. And the agenda that I'm talking about is that, number one, we're focused on acquiring assets and developing our Wind River. Number two, we're focused on cleaning up the balance sheet and getting current on the pinks. And number three, we want to get audited and get to the OTC. So these are the levels of attention that's provided by the company, and a reverse split is not in our plans currently.
Okay. So how much convertible debt do you have, and what is the percentage discount of it? And so once the convertible debt is gone, how do you plan to raise working capital, and how much more do you need to raise?
You know, that's a terrific question. It's a really good question. As far as the convertible debt that we have approximately, give or take, about $3 million on the books. We have a strategic plan to take it out. We have been talking to some institutional investors on the equity side to help us to take that out. So that's part of the business plan as well. As far as how we look to raise in the future, a lot of companies that are in our position have looked at Reg A's to bring in equity to clean out the convertible debt, because that's usually the worst part of it for OTC investors, right? If you want to hit the nail on the head, it's a converting guys coming at a significant discount, causing mass dilution. So we're well aware of that. So our business process is, how do we minimize it? How do we attack it head on? And how do we move the company forward and create shareholder value?
And another question about the convertible debt. Once it's extinguished, can you commit to not taking any toxic financing in the future?
That's the plan. I mean, everybody wants to see the company grow. I think we learned our lessons the hard way, when we thought we would be able to take them out. But, the old adage, shame on me once, but it's not going to be twice. So our team understands and accepts the responsibility of what we've done. But more importantly, we have a plan to get this future. And we have a laser focus. We understand how the financial markets work a little bit better now. And we're excited about the prospects. And we believe we're going to create tremendous value. I mean, take a look at it. We have a $7 million market cap. And our company has prospective resources of 18 million barrels in the ground. I don't want to get into it, but it's something we have to clean up, move forward. We can't cry about it. This is why we're in place and we're in the position we are. And so we're going to take the necessary steps to evolve the company to the next level.
So of some of the majors you mentioned in your space, have you had any talks with them about a joint venture?
We're not at liberty to say.
Okay. So when you say acquisition of your own wells, explain that some more. Do you have any targets?
Absolutely. Right now, we have several targets. One of the good things about our management team, we have boots on the ground in almost every basin. We get to look at deals on a daily basis. People call us on a daily basis. Just to give you a bird's eye view, I'm able to see 3 or 4 transactions on a daily basis, not only from publicly traded companies looking to divest, not only from brokers, but from also small independents that have been 30, 40 years in the business, and they're now saying it's time to move out. So it's a very exciting time for us. We're getting to see the pick of the litter. We're in talks with our financial team. We're talking with some bankers on how to acquire assets and minimize dilution at the same point, because that's key. We could acquire all we want, but we want to make sure it's in the best structure to minimize dilution in order to raise capital and to move the company forward.
Hash that out a little bit with your bank. Are you in talks with other broker dealers, investment banks for an equity raise and a potential uplist?
Absolutely, 100%.
So regarding your resources, are your resources proven resources, and can that be verified?
They're prospective resources. So prospective resources is the category before you begin drilling. They're not PUDs, so they're considered prospective resources. But it was our report was done by an independent third-party engineering firm. The third-party engineering, Chapman Engineering, they have 20 years experience, and they write reserve reports for companies globally, traded on the New York Stock Exchange to the TSX Exchange. So we're confident in their numbers, and they've been very instrumental in companies opening fields in the past. So we're highly excited about their work, along with our geological team.
How do you see electric vehicles and clean energy impacting your growth?
We don't see them impacting our growth. We see it as complementary. Like I said during our presentation, it's going to take a while for clean energy to move forward. And quite frankly, electric vehicles are good for the environment. It's good for the world. We all want a good place to live, I think. But in order to make those vehicles, in order to get the electricity to make the vehicles, the plastic, the rubber tires, the steering wheel, the leather, that's all petroleum based. You need oil. I think people forget oil is essential. So I think oil will be there. If you look at things to move forward, I think they're going to go in tandem. And I think, as we mentioned, our business model is pivoted. We're paying attention what's going on. We're clear with the mandates that's going on globally in Paris, in UK, in Germany. There's huge. You have hydrogen economies coming. So we have a business model with our new energy ventures to fit in. So we can, as part of the energy moves, the dynamics move to a cleaner energy, net zero carbon emission environment, we're able to take advantage with our hydrogen and geothermal projects. But as far as oil is concerned and clean, we think it's there. And as far as the vehicles, they're needed. And we think it's complementary, and we're not concerned about it. We think it's a good thing.
Talk a little bit about transparency. Someone's asking if you can talk about the reasons for not delivering the financials on the dates mentioned, and what are you doing to ensure this is improved in the future?
That's a great question. And the onus falls on us as management. But I can tell you, as much as I can lift the curtain, I can tell you we have all the books in, the records. When you have a high level of convertible debt, there's something called derivative liability. It's probably one of the most tedious tasks in financial bookkeeping to get right, and you want to make sure it's right, especially in an unaudited environment. So let's take a step back. Why has it taken so long? And I think our shareholders are going to enjoy this. Why it's taken us so long? We're going through this process just like it's audited financials. And the reason why is because when we finish filing all our financials, we're going to immediately have our auditor go to their audit review and begin auditing our financials. And the last thing we want to do is have to restate anything. So once again, we have pride. Our management team has pride. We're never going to do a few things. We never put out baseless news. Everything is facts. Number two, when we have something to say, we say it. That should give investors a level of confidence. Number three, when we put something out, we want to stand by it. Okay? So with that said, doing everything like it's being audited, GAAP. We're not taking any shortcuts. We're doing everything by the fair letter of the line and the letter of the law, if you will. And so when we go into the auditing process, it's going to be a breeze for us. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. The auditors look at it, and we can move forward. And so we go from pink current to OTC QB. So that's our plan, and this is why it's been taking so long, to be quite frank.
Okay. We have a few questions around this. Are you going to be using your Twitter social media account to update information about your company specifically and not just the industry as a whole?
Currently, our model is to update it on the industry. From time to time, if we have relevant news, we will tell investors via Twitter to go to our ir.foothillspetro or look at a news release. But we think Twitter is a tool to communicate with our shareholders, let them know what's going on in the industry, keep them abreast of cutting edge. And if you read in between the lines on Twitter, so if there's Twitter posts talking about the industry moving in a certain direction, or this is what's going on, you should know management team is keeping abreast. They understand what's going on, and we're moving our business strategy towards that avenue, if you will.
Talk about a timeline to profitability and qualifying for a higher exchange like NASDAQ.
I think we need to crawl before we walk and walk before we run. So the NASDAQ listing is a bit out far, but having a realistic view, if you will, what we'd like to do is get pink sheet currents, get QB currents, and move forward. With profitability, for those who've been around the exploration companies, profitability comes on the tail end. We're more valued on the resources we find, so the oil and gas we find, the projects we build. So our value is more on what we find and the potential value of what we find. The profitability comes later once we start extracting the oil and producing it. You know, what our concentration is high impact, high generation projects. So if we open the field in Wind River, potentially an 18 billion resource is worth over 370 million risk assessment. That's significant for a company at our valuation.
What about the OTCQB?
To reiterate,
timeline for that?
To reiterate, we want to get it done as soon as possible. Our hope and our belief is by the end of the year. But once again, that's forward-looking statements, that's perspective, but that's our hope, that's our wish, and that's our intent.
A lot of questions about that. What about a time frame for reaching one of the major markets? What do you project?
Major markets, or we're talking about? I think we've addressed that in the questions previously, if you will. But I think the timeline is, hey, if you're let me put it this way. If you're a shareholder with Foothills, and the reason why I put this out to Q&A instead of going through a long projected presentation, because I wanted to interact with our shareholders and give them the time to understand this. And one of the things I could say is you have a management team that's working extremely hard. We're talking pulling 80 to 100-hour weeks. So we understand what's ahead of us, and we're just taking step by step. Before we can get that major exchange, there's a couple of things we need to do. A, boost our production portfolio. So that's where looking at the acquisition of assets are working right now. So we're looking at, to quote one of my bankers, we're looking to hit a couple of singles and doubles, using baseball terms, right? But we're looking to acquire one or two assets that are singles and doubles, but we have that high impact program, which is our Wind River program. And so we want to build a portfolio, not only on the oil and gas side, but on the clean energy side as well. And as we build that portfolio, hitting single and doubles, that'll allow us the ability to uplist far easier than just shooting for the stars and hitting nothing, if you will.
Well, Kevin, we're glad that you presented to us today and opened it up to questions. There are quite a few more questions, so we will send them directly to you so you can answer the viewers on your own time. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and you have a wonderful day.
Good. We look forward to your updates. All right, everyone, remember, you're going to experience a black screen for a brief moment as we transition to the next presenter, but stay with us because we're coming right back.